There's something I need to tell you, something I've never spoken of before. It's about Tom, my old friend, and what happened to him in the months before he vanished. Even now, part of me wonders if it was all in my head, or worse, if I'm next. It started with small things you could easily ignore. Tom would mention that the shadows in his house seemed to move when they shouldn't. At first I thought he was just tired, or maybe his mind was playing tricks on him. It happens to everyone, right? But then he started hearing things, low, mocking whispers, always just out of reach. He'd call me late at night, his voice shaky, telling me about this presence in his home, hiding in the corners, always staying just outside the light. I remember the first time I visited him after it began. His house was a mess of lamps and flashlights, every corner bathed in light. Yet, despite the brightness, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching us. Tom kept glancing at the walls, his eyes darting around like a hunted animal. "It's in the shadows," he whispered, gripping my arm tightly. "It's been taunting me for days. I see it move, hear it laugh, but when I turn to look, nothing. It's always just out of reach." I didn't know what to say. I told him it was stress, lack of sleep, but deep down, there was something unsettling about the way his eyes followed the shadows on the wall, as if waiting for them to shift again. As the weeks passed, Tom grew worse. He became obsessed, hardly sleeping, constantly chasing this thing that haunted him. He said it was growing bolder, creeping closer each night, twisting into human-like shapes on his walls, always gone the moment he turned his head. One night, he called me in a panic. I could hear it in his voice, the desperation. "I saw it," he said. "It smiled at me, a shadow, smiling, and it whispered, 'You can't run from what's already inside.'" That was the last time I spoke to him. The next day, I went to his house. The door was unlocked, but Tom was gone. His place was eerily quiet, the light still on, casting long shadows that seemed wrong. They flickered strangely, almost like they were moving when I wasn't looking. I never found out what happened to Tom, but sometimes, late at night, when the shadows in my own home seem to stretch a little too far, I swear I hear whispers, just out of reach.